Hello, everybody. This is Elliot Connie, and welcome to the final video in the Solution Building and Couples Therapy series that I've been doing here on my YouTube channel. And this one is on ending the session. And, way back in the spring, maybe early summer, I can't exactly recall, but my goal was to create a series of trainings that would walk practitioners through the beginning of the session all the way to the end of the session. And I really intended to do one video every 2 weeks, but unfortunately, my schedule. Sorry, I got a yawn. It's actually pretty late here. I'm doing this video after my full day of therapy, which um, means it's pretty late. I won't say how late, or else you guys might start calling me a workaholic or something, but it is pretty late. But anyway, I wanted to put out a different video every 2 weeks to walk people through, but my schedule just never allowed me to keep up that pace. So I'm glad that I'm able to follow through on my commitment and put this final video out there. And I appreciate all the people that have been sending me kind remarks and contacting me via Facebook and sending me emails, and a few of you even placed some phone calls. So thank you guys so much for your support. I hope you continue to find these videos helpful. Now, this is the final video in this series, but it will not be the last video that I do. Um, so just stay tuned, and if you follow me on Facebook or Twitter, you'll be kind of up to date on all the stuff I'm doing next. And I'm actually working right now on some pretty exciting projects that I just can't wait to share with the world. And speaking of sharing things with the world, my book was released in September, Solution Building and Couples Therapy. And man, it has just been the most amazing experience of my entire life. Like, this book is so personal. Um, I wrote this book as a result of just not being able to find a lot of training materials that were conducive to the way that I worked with couples. And I know that there's, the Gottman method and Dr. Sue Johnson and all these people who do really wonderful work with couples, but I just could never find any training, any materials that were kind of encouraging to the way that I was working with couples and in applying solution building practices in the solution focused way to working with couples. And I was presented with the opportunity to write it, and since it's been out, the reception has been so warm, and Amazon has been selling them, and I've been selling them, and it's just been an amazing. I'm almost speechless, really. So if you want to pick up the book, well, first of all, thank you guys to everyone who's been supportive of the book, and once again sending kind words and kind remarks, and going out and get it. Like, it's the most amazing experience of my life. And for those of you that don't have it, here's the website where you can go get it: solutionbuildingandcouplestherapybook.com. Um, it's available also on Amazon, Kindle, Nook, basically every major Barnes and Noble, basically every major bookseller. You can get it straight from the publisher. It's springerpublisher.com. Just put in my name in the search box, and you will be taken to the two books that I've written by Springer, actually, and most recently, Solution Building and Couples Therapy. And of course, if you order it from me, you can get it a little bit cheaper. Uh, and I'm happy to sign the book. Just email me what you want me to sign it. I'm happy to do that, and I can probably get it to you a little bit quicker than Amazon and Barnes and Noble could do it. I can ship it out quite fast. But I've been selling them quite a bit, and in fact, as I sit here right now, I only have, let me see, one, two. I've got seven. Only got seven left, and I started off with a really big stack, and it's kind of been dwindled down all the way to seven. I've actually sold out once already, and here before pretty soon, I'm probably going to sell out of these as well. I'm heading out to Minneapolis in the next couple of weeks, going to the Solution Focused Solution Focused Brief Therapy Association conference, which will be held in mid to late November. And before I leave, I will order some more. But if you want to be sure to get one, I just have these seven. So contact me ASAP, and I'll be happy to ship it to you. So on to the session. Well, the first thing I want to discuss about wrapping up a solution focused session is the use of scales. And scales in working with couples are used after a well-developed preferred future is accomplished. And a good scale, a good quality scale, must have 4 points: the goal, or when things were or will be as the best hopes was described, right? So basically 10 represents the best hopes in reality. 0 represents the least desired. Another point represents where are you presently, and then another point is where would you like to be. Now, everybody thinks, well, obviously I'd rather be in 10, but the truth is couples don't say that. Like we all kind of inherently know that there is no such thing as the perfect relationship. So when I ask people where would you like to be, it's more about where would you like to be when you know that therapy is over. And you get answers like, man, I'd like to be at a 7 or an 8 or a 9 or something like that. But very few people have actually said 10. So here's an example of a scale. I was actually given this one by the guys over at Brief, Chris Iveson, Harvey Ratner, and Evan George. But it's just a really, really good way to kind of see a scale. Now, usually in sessions, I'll write them on a note card actually, or just demonstrate them in the air on my hand, because I typically don't take a lot of notes in session. But see how 10 represents the best hopes when they are realistic. Uh, well, when they are happening in reality is a better way to say it. And 0 is the worst possible the situation could be. Y represents where you is your present position, and X is the realistic goal. And once again, very, very few people. In fact, as I sit here right now, I can't think of anybody that's actually said that their goal was to get to 10. Now, here's an example of scaling questions that actually came from a session that I've done recently, because this work that I do is all about details, just details, details, details. You can never have too many details. So as long as I have enough time, I'm going to keep asking questions to extract details. So on a scale of 0 to 10, with 10 representing the relationship at its very best, and 0 is as far from that as you could possibly be, where would you rate your relationship today? Now, a word about that, I'm going to go back a little bit here. A word about that is it surprises me the numbers that people say. Like they'll come into my office and they'll be dealing with adultery or some sort of other, really traumatic event that happened in the relationship, which would make almost anybody say that we're at a negative 10,000. But I'll ask people this question and they'll say, man, I don't know, about a 4, 3 or a 4, and it always stuns me where people rate themselves, which opens up my ability to ask questions like, what is it that tells you are at that point of the scale, and as opposed to some point lower? And then what else, what else, what else? Again, it's about details. So what are you noticing in your relationship that caused you to say 3, 4, 5 instead of 0 or instead of negative 1,000? Oh, I gotta go back a little because my clicker got a little jumpy. Okay, there we go. And what have you done to get it to that number? Like, how did you contribute to those details telling you that you were at a 3 or a 4? What was your role in that happening? How did you contribute to it not being any lower? And then how will you know if you moved up 1 point on your scale? And what skills did you draw upon? It did not happen by accident. So if it moves up 1 point on the scale, you must have used an inherent ability, a trait that you possess that caused it to move up on the scale. So what were those traits? What were those abilities? What traits and abilities did your partner use? And how would the other person in the relationship notice that things have improved? And then what else, what else, what else, what else, what else? Now, asking questions like this really can take quite a long time because you can see just how many points of detail I'm extracting from clients. But this is just an example for you guys to use on the questions that I would ask while I'm going through the scaling process. The other thing is the details that were discussed in the previous slide are often very mundane. Like I asked a couple the other day, suppose you woke up and a miracle happened and your relationship was right with the way you'd like it to be and all these things, what would be the first thing you would notice? And she said that her husband would bring her coffee. I mean, that's such a small, you expect people, if a miracle happened, her husband would bring her $10 billion might be the answer. But she said her husband would bring her coffee. So this is such a, everyday thing. We've got to ask them, what difference would that make for you for that to actually occur? What difference would it make to the others around you? And it explores meaning. It has a deepening effect because he might have brought her coffee 10,000 times and she just didn't catch it as an example of of the best hopes becoming realized. She didn't catch it as something that she was most desiring, right? I mean, it's such a seemingly small thing, but means the absolute world. And it encourages the couple to explore other potential changes. I don't know why it says if, but to explore other potential changes. So these potential changes might have been happening all around them for a long, long time, but the meaning of the success was not attached to it. So the next time this person brought her coffee in this particular case, she recognized it as a clue that things are on the right path and got really excited, and then the couple was able to celebrate that. Excuse me. And these differences must be realistic, feasible, and worthwhile. So things that can actually happen, things that can go on in their regular life and mean something to them. And oftentimes, if we don't ask what difference it would make, the client would not express it. And then lastly, it requires no understanding by the therapist. I don't need to know what the meaning of the coffee is or what the meaning of a particular detail is. I don't, it's not really up to me. They just have to know what those things mean to them. And then feedback and suggestions. And it's just a summary of the conversation using the couple's own language. And very often on my desk, and in fact, as I'm sitting at my desk right now, I always keep a stack of note cards. And I will usually take a break before giving summaries and suggestions. Do you hear me fanning the note cards right there? There you go. Sounds like a deck of cards. I usually take a break before the summary and suggestions component of the session, and I write down some of my thoughts because I don't take notes in session. And I just write down the things that the language, the words that they used and the things that I noticed. And I must say things that are true and backed up by factual observations. Like I can't just say to the couple, you guys look like you're in love, or just solution focused therapy is not a compliment based model. It's an observation based model. It's a conversation based model, is probably a better way to say it. So I use conversation to demonstrate to them what I attended to and what I think it says about their relationship and the positive parts of their relationship. And the compliments, the feedback, the suggestions must be significant to the couple. I must use their own language so that I know that the words I'm using has meaning to them. And then suggestions are usually just as simple as noticing changes. It's not my turn to get clever or to come up with some sort of crazy intervention that makes me look all creative and intelligent. Just simply notice the details we've been discussing throughout the session. Well, that's it. We just spent the past little bit going from the beginning of the session to the end. I hope you guys found it helpful. It was a lot of fun to do, and I'm going to do a lot more videos like this. So here's how you can contact me, those of you who have not already. My email address is contact@elliottconnie.com. My therapy site is elliottconnie.com. And my speaking site that has my services and other products you guys might find interesting, including my mailing list, is at elliottSpeaks.com. You can follow me on Twitter @ElliottSpeaks. Or, of course, you can go ahead and follow what I have to say on Facebook, and you do that by liking my Facebook page, and it is that link right there. So, everybody, thank you so much once again, and I'll see you the next time I do something else. Happy hunting.